Family drama is nothing new in the world of gospel music, but what just happened between Kirk Franklin and his daughter has left fans absolutely speechless. After years of whispers, accusations, and viral audio leaks, she's finally speaking out, and she's not holding back. In fact, she's calling out the critics, shutting down the rumors, and exposing the side of this story that nobody saw coming. And trust me, the truth she just dropped changes everything. Kirk Franklin has always been a name that carried weight in gospel music. From his chart-topping hits to his powerful ministry influence, he has been seen as a figure of faith, resilience, and inspiration. But behind the pulpit and the polished image, the Franklin family has faced its share of storms. Over the years, the spotlight has shifted from his music to his personal life, especially the rocky relationship with his children. And now, in a shocking turn of events, Kirk Franklin's daughter is speaking out loud and clear, and she is not afraid to confront the critics head-on. This is not just a casual statement or a quiet clarification. This is a bold move to set the record straight once and for all. In this video, we are breaking down exactly what she said, why it matters, and how it flips the narrative that has been circulating for so long. We will take a closer look at the history of their family tension, the viral controversies that made headlines, and the powerful shutdown message she just delivered that has the entire gospel community buzzing. Stay with me, because as we unfold this story, you'll see why fans are divided, why some are shocked into silence, and why others are applauding her bravery. And here's where it gets even more interesting. What she revealed is not just about family drama. It exposes deeper truths about image, faith, and the price of fame. You will not want to miss this. To really understand why Kirk Franklin's daughter is speaking out now, we have to go back to where it all started. Kirk Franklin's career has been nothing short of legendary. From the 90s to now, he has shaped gospel music in ways few others have. His songs like Stump and Melodies from Heaven became household anthems, bridging gospel and mainstream music in a way that gave him both fans and critics. His rise to fame, however, was not without personal challenges. Behind the spotlight, Franklin's personal life was complex. He became a father at a young age, and his early years as a parent were filled with struggles, misunderstandings, and tension that would later boil over into very public confrontations. Over time, his strained relationship with his son, Kerrion Franklin, drew national attention after an explosive phone call was leaked in 2021. That audio revealed heated words and created a viral storm, painting Kirk as a father battling both personal flaws and public judgment. But while the media was laser-focused on that father-son feud, many forgot there were other voices in the Franklin household, particularly his daughter. For years, she stayed out of the chaos, avoiding the spotlight when family tensions went viral. But that silence has now broken, and in the most unexpected way. And here's the part that will surprise many viewers. Her decision to speak out didn't come from anger, desperation, or even a need for fame. Instead, it came from a place of strength, clarity, and a determination to shut down narratives that she feels misrepresent her family, her father, and herself. This is where the story takes a dramatic turn, because her words don't just defend Kirk Franklin. They challenge the critics who have been fueling the fire all along. And the message she delivers is sharp, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. But before we get into her explosive statements, let's talk about the key events that built up the pressure leading to this moment. When we talk about Kirk Franklin's legacy, most people immediately think of the awards, the platinum-selling records, and his undeniable influence on gospel music. But for nearly a decade, headlines have been less about his music and more about his private life unraveling in public. And this is exactly the environment that pushed his daughter to step forward. The turning point for many fans came in March 2021, when Kerrion Franklin, Kirk's oldest son, released a private phone call that spread across the internet like wildfire. In that recording, Kirk was heard in a heated exchange, using language that shocked many, especially given his role as a gospel leader. The clip sparked endless debates. Some labeled him a hypocrite, while others defended him as a human being struggling with the difficulties of raising adult children. Cause embarrassment. It ripped open the Franklin family for the world to dissect. Suddenly, every tweet, every Instagram post, every old interview was under a microscope. Kerrion himself continued to stir controversy, accusing his father of years of mistreatment, and social media users chose sides like it was a reality TV feud rather than a deeply personal family struggle. But here's the important part. While the feud between Kirk and Kerrion played out publicly, his daughter kept quiet. She watched as strangers speculated about her family, as critics turned her father into a trending topic for all the wrong reasons, and as the gospel community whispered behind closed doors. Imagine growing up in a household already under public scrutiny, then watching millions of people weigh in on issues that were never theirs to judge. Over time, that silence became its own story. Fans asked, why hasn't Kirk's daughter said anything? Does her silence mean she agrees with Kerrion, or is she protecting her father? That curiosity only grew louder as years passed. And then, when people least expected it, she decided to speak. Her statements were not off the cuff, not random, and not emotional rants. Instead, they were calculated, direct, and powerful. She knew the world was watching. She knew her words would make headlines, and she chose her timing carefully. But what exactly did she say? And why are people calling her comments a complete, shut-up call to everyone fueling the drama? The answer will leave you stunned, because her truth doesn't just defend her family, it completely changes the narrative people thought they knew. For years, Kirk Franklin's daughter watched the world build a narrative about her family, and especially about her father, that didn't always reflect the full truth. She remained quiet, perhaps out of respect, perhaps out of caution, but that silence came with a cost. People started to interpret her silence as agreement with the critics, as if she was quietly validating every rumor, every accusation, and every piece of gossip swirling online. But then, in a move that no one saw coming, she finally spoke up. And when she did, her words carried the kind of weight that could not be ignored. Her message was sharp, unapologetic, and crystal clear. She was tired of the outsiders, the critics, and the so-called fans who had been stirring up drama about her family without ever knowing the truth. According to her, the world has been far too comfortable reducing the Franklin family to a spectacle. Every disagreement, every private struggle, every argument became viral content. And she wasn't having it anymore. She made it clear that enough was enough. This wasn't a soap opera for strangers to comment on. This was her family, her blood, and her father. What stood out most in her statement was the conviction. She didn't stutter, she didn't hesitate, and she didn't try to sugarcoat anything. She openly defended her father, insisting that no one on the outside could ever truly understand the complexities of their household. Families argue, families disagree, but families also heal. And to her, people had gone too far turning private pain into public entertainment. She also addressed the critics directly, almost as if she were looking them in the eye, and saying, "You don't know us. You don't know him. And you have no right to judge what you cannot understand." Those words alone sent a ripple through social media, because they weren't just a defense of her father, they were a command for silence. A call to stop the endless chatter, the gossip blogs, and the judgment. In fact, some fans are calling her message a shut-up call, a way of shutting down everyone who thought they had a right to insert themselves into Franklin family business. And the timing could not have been more perfect. With her father still riding the wave of new projects and the family finally finding some peace, her statement hit like a thunderclap, bold, clear, and impossible to twist. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Her words didn't just defend Kirk Franklin, they revealed something deeper about her own journey. She spoke about how hard it has been to watch strangers label her father a villain, how painful it was to see people dragging his name in the mud, and how frustrating it felt to know the truth while the internet ran wild with lies. It was a moment of empowerment, not just for her, but for anyone who has ever felt silenced while the world told their story for them. In many ways, her statement wasn't only about protecting her father, it was about reclaiming the narrative for herself. The reaction to her words has been just as divided as the family drama itself. Some fans are applauding her courage, saying it's about time someone from the inside spoke out and shut down the rumors. Others, however, are skeptical, wondering if her words were influenced by loyalty rather than truth. This is where the story gets even more intense, because the reactions, both supportive and critical, have only fueled more conversation. And the way the gospel community has responded might surprise you. When Kirk Franklin's daughter finally broke her silence, the impact was immediate. Social media lit up within minutes of her words being posted. Her statement wasn't just another passing comment in the noise of celebrity culture. It became a viral talking point across multiple platforms, from Twitter to Instagram to TikTok. On one side, there was an overwhelming wave of support. Fans applauded her courage, praising her for standing up not just for her father, but for the truth. Supporters pointed out how difficult it must have been to grow up as Kirk Franklin's child, constantly judged in the shadow of his fame and under the microscope of public opinion. Many wrote that her voice was the missing piece in the family narrative, and that her decision to speak now showed strength, maturity, and a willingness to protect her family at all costs. In the gospel community, her words resonated even more deeply. Pastors, singers, and church leaders who had remained silent during the earlier Franklin controversies began sharing her statement, noting how important it was to remember that public figures are still human. Some even used her words in sermons, calling them a reminder that Christians, too, are prone to judgment, gossip, and misunderstanding. To them, her message wasn't just about the Franklin family, it was about protecting the sanctity of family itself. But on the other side, the criticism was just as loud. Skeptics quickly jumped in, claiming her defense was nothing more than blind loyalty to her father. Some critics argued that her statement ignored the real pain expressed by her brother, Kerrion. They suggested that instead of silencing the conversation, she should have acknowledged the possibility that multiple truths exist within a family. To these voices, her shut-up call felt more like a dismissal than a resolution. Blogs and online outlets wasted no time picking sides. Headlines screamed with phrases like, "Kirk Franklin's daughter shuts down haters," while others questioned whether this was just a carefully timed family PR move. Comment sections became battlegrounds, with fans and critics clashing over who was right and who was wrong. What made this fallout so powerful wasn't just the divided opinions, it was the raw emotion on both sides. Supporters felt vindicated, like finally, the family was standing tall against the endless negativity. Critics, however, felt more determined than ever to dig deeper, convinced that where there's smoke, there must be fire. And then came the unexpected twist. Kirk Franklin himself remained largely quiet about his daughter's statement. He didn't immediately repost it, he didn't rush to the media, and he didn't add his own commentary. That silence fueled even more speculation. Some fans wondered if he was letting his daughter's words stand on their own, while others suggested he was distancing himself to avoid more controversy. This silence, paired with her boldness, created a striking contrast. While the father who has been at the center of countless debates stayed silent, his daughter became the voice of strength, the one carrying the message and shutting down the critics. It left many wondering, was this planned or was this her truly taking control of the narrative on her own? And here's the shocking part. The fallout didn't just affect the Franklin family. It sparked broader conversations about family boundaries, the role of social media in airing personal grievances, and the way faith communities handle public scandals. People began asking tough questions. Should private family issues ever be made public? Do children of famous parents owe the world explanations? And how much should faith leaders be judged by their private struggles? The answers to those questions are far from simple, but one thing is clear: Kirk Franklin's daughter's words have shifted the conversation. For better or worse, she has drawn a line in the sand, forcing everyone to reconsider how much they really know about the Franklin family and how far they should go in judging them.